Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on X at Movies TV Mad and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X. A very warm welcome to Thursday's edition of the Movies TV Mad Daily. Jerry Bruckheimer, producer Jerry Bruckheimer, has confirmed that they're rebooting the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. But get this, get his reasoning. It's bad enough they're rebooting it. That's dumb enough. Here's his reasoning. He gave the delays for Top Gun Maverick 3 as an example. He said they have to wait for Tom Cruise to be available for a Top Gun Maverick sequel, so they don't want to wait for the existing Pirates of the Caribbean cast members, so that's why they're rebooting and recasting the franchise. Jerry! No, Jerry, are you listening to me? Someone got a glass of water. Jerry, wake up. Ain't nobody going to see a rebooted Pirates of the Caribbean movie. The only reason people would go and see that movie is for Johnny Depp. The reason we used to go and watch those movies was for Johnny and for Orlando and for Kira and the rest of the cast, but mainly for Johnny Depp. He created his own caricature, and it was fantastic. It's the only point of interest. Don't you understand that you cannot win? You're sounding like a very, very stupid man. And my dad told me that you wasn't a stupid man. And I don't want my dad to be wrong, because my late dad was always a very good judge of character. This is insanity. So this is how stupid they think you and me are. That we're going to believe that the reason they're rebooting this franchise is so they don't have to wait for Johnny Depp to be available. So when you cast Sydney Sweeney, when you cast Margot Robbie, or whatever mid-actors you're going to cast in this brand new rebooted franchise, after you've made the first movie, are you going to recast it so you don't have to wait for that cast? Because they're going to be busy at some point, right? Do you see how this is bullshit? But this is how, as I say, this is how stupid they think you and I are. And we're not stupid. I am not going to spend good money to go to the cinema, to spend 40 euros to go to the cinema. Another £3 for an ice blast, another £3 for a huge popcorn, to see other people who are not Johnny Depp be in a Pirate of the Caribbean movie. Now, we all know that Jerry Bruckheimer is a very smart man. We know that. The evidence is there. He's from old Hollywood. He's not the problem, it's Disney. Because this is what's going to happen. They're going to recast this movie with a bunch of checkboxes. White women, black women, minorities, maybe a couple of people in wheelchairs as well, wheeling themselves on the big ship, right? Isn't that good, yeah? But a bunch of check notes. Isn't that fun? And no one is going to be interested in this movie. And when it flops, they're going to blame you and me, the audience, the consumer. Because audience and consumer blaming is the thing today, isn't it? Because they can't exactly blame themselves. Because that's the problem with these people. Their egos are so huge that they have to blame everybody else but themselves. Imagine finding out that Johnny Depp is returning in a brand new Pirates of the Caribbean movie. That would create a lot of excitement. Not that I believe in sequels. I don't like sequels. Sequels only exist mostly to make money. And most of the time, the second movie, the sequel, the third movie, the fourth movie is never as good as the first movie. Look at the movies that came after Superman 78. Or, RoboCop 2, RoboCop 3. All shit, right? Actually, I didn't mind RoboCop 2, but the first one is the one, right? But this is where we are today. This is a great example. Now, I don't like the term nobody asked for this or nobody asked for that. Nobody asked for the Running Man, nobody asked for Total Recall, right? But we still enjoyed them. It's not about what we asked for. Nobody, and I mean nobody, not even the shills that have got their tongues up Disney's backsides, not even the bots on social media platforms are going to watch this movie. There'll be a few idiots going, oh, the people on the internet attacking Disney and Jerry Bruckheimer. Yes, because it's dumb. It's clown-like behaviour. It won't work. The only reason people were ever interested in Pirates of the Caribbean was because of Johnny Depp. That's a factual statement. There's no other reason to go and see these movies. Sometimes, you know, the later sequels weren't great, but it was still great to see Johnny playing that caricature that he created. That's the point. If there's a season of 24 you don't like, you'll say, well, Day 6 wasn't as good as the other seasons, but Kiefer as Jack Bauer was still awesome, right? And that's why we continued watching that show. So there is no point. This is a waste of everybody's time and money. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your energy complaining about this, because this is Disney. This is what they want to do. There is no one in the industry today that can create another caricature like Captain Jack Sparrow. It will not work. You can bring in Margot Robbie to play another version of Harley Quinn, which is all she does today since she first played Harley Quinn, right? At the end of the day, it ain't going to fucking work. It's not going to work. This is not about ideology. This is not about politics. That's not who I am. I don't care. And this is why the fight, you know, with Nelson Peltz and Bob Iger and the Disney board is so important, because of dumb decisions like this. Now, Nelson Peltz said shit like, oh, why do I have to watch a movie with just black people in it or just women in it? Ain't about that, right? If you populate a movie full of great black actors and a great black director and a great black writer, and I enjoyed a movie, yippee! But what they're doing is they're shrinking the amount of men in movies, starring in movies. We see it on TV all the time, right? That's what they're doing. It's just check boxes. So the reason those people are in those films normally, you know, is because of their identity and not because of their ability. If they actually cast black people that had personalities and talent and ability, who gives a fuck? If I'm sitting there watching a great movie, who gives a fuck? It isn't about ideology, whether it's extreme left ideology or right-wing Trump ideology. I don't care about that shit. But this is why Nelson Peltz is fighting for the heart of Disney and entertainment. This is the very heart of the battle. Because as I say, nobody wants that. Pirates of the Caribbean is worthless without Johnny Depp. Now, personally, I can't think of anything worse than going to watch an aging Johnny Depp in yet another, you know, mid Pirates of the Caribbean sequel. We don't need it. There isn't an audience for Pirates of the Caribbean. There's an even lesser audience for Pirates of the Caribbean without Johnny Depp. There is no imagination. There's no bravery. Hollywood used to be original. Yes, there used to be reboots, and sometimes they were good and sometimes they weren't, right? I mean, The Fugitive starring Harrison Ford is, you know, a reimagining of the David Jansen series, right? Back in the day, which was a great series on its own. And that was good. You know, I'm not saying that reimaginings and relaunches and reboots are a bad thing when they've got the best ideas at heart. For example, there's a relaunch of Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap is one of my favourite shows ever made. It's got its good things. It's got its qualities. The Quantum Leap reboot isn't totally bad. I admit that. I watch it and I somewhat like it in places. but it's still about checkboxes. It's got far too many characters, and it's not as much focused on the leaper as it once was. It's going here, it's going there, and that's the problem. We had the same issue with the Knight Rider reboot, with Val Kilmer as the voice of Kit. It was a good idea. It was a continuation. It was a relaunch focusing on Michael Knight's son. It was okay. It was very high tech, but in a lot of ways, it lost the heart between Michael and Kit. Now, the guy playing Michael Knight's son, who was also called Michael, did have some good banter sometimes with Val Kilmer's Kit, but it did lose its heart. Too many characters, too many people to focus on because they've got to check all those boxes. That's not how good representation and inclusion works. I'll tell you what good representation and inclusion is. Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills Cop. That works, right? Roger Murtaugh in the Lethal Weapon series. That's great representation and inclusion because the guy was talented. The people playing his family were talented, and it worked. And it was directed by Dick Donner. So, representation and inclusion only matters and only works when it's done for the right reasons. If you listen to New Hollywood Today, if you watch the Hollywood Reporter Roundtable Power of Women, they'll tell you they're the first female leads in history. I grew up with Cagney and Lacey, right? 42 years ago that show was on. 42 fucking years ago, we had two strong, powerful, independent female leads as coppers. We saw them as police women, solving cases, going home to their husbands, right? And kind of the problems they had at home as well. It was an amazing series. We had strong, independent women played by strong, independent women. And in the 30s and 40s, we had Vivian Leigh and Olivia de Havilland. Now, Olivia de Havilland played Maid Marian in the original Robin Hood movie, right? Now, she was a woman. They talk about the pay gap in Hollywood. Well, that woman would kneecap you if you didn't pay her fairly. There were strong women getting paid fairly. If they deserved it, they got paid. But people who don't deserve it, one of the guys, I forgot his name, he's also in Quantum Leap, very good actor, very famous actor. He's in the new Ghostbusters, right? Forgot his name anyway. He's a gentleman of colour. And they were talking about the pay gap and black actors not getting as much. He goes, it's not about racism. Using racism is a lazy reason for it, And he was talking about other reasons. And it's interesting, isn't it? Now, don't be surprised if that guy's a Republican, which I am not, by the way. And if I was, I'd be honest and I'd be proud of it. But the point being, he makes a good point, right? You can't, as a man or a woman, you can't be in a film with Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise and complain you're getting less money than Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt. It's pathetic, right? Recently, Olivia Colman's a very good actor, normally a very fine woman. She said, if my name was Oliver, I'd get more money. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit. You're a good actor, you're pretty famous, but you're not going to get more money than the bigger names, right? And you're not a big enough name. You're basically an okay TV actress that's been promoted into films, and you don't demand the money that some other people do, right? So I don't want women getting paid less because they're women. I don't want black people getting paid less because they're black, and I don't believe that's the case if you deserve it. But here's the very funny thing. So Pirates of the Caribbean is not being rebooted because they're going to have to wait for Johnny Depp. That's bullshit. You'd have to wait for any fucking actor to have a free schedule, for their schedule to be freed up. It's like Spielberg and Lucas going, we're going to reboot Indiana Jones after Raiders of the Lost Ark because we don't want to wait for Harrison Ford. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. There's one reason, and there's one reason only. Because Disney and those people, those with that extremist political mindset, tried to frame Johnny Depp for being a bad man, and they failed. They failed because Johnny Depp and his fans were too clever for them. And they're kicking their legs in the air like a spoilt fucking child because they lost. And they will continue to fucking lose. Entertainment used to be made with love. No matter the other problems within the industry, right, which we've discussed before. I'm not saying old Hollywood was perfect, but, movies and television were made with warmth and love. And today, they're being made with hatred, right? The reason they're rebooting this movie series is for one reason. Because Johnny Depp is an alpha male and they hate him. They hate white, straight alpha males. And they've driven them away from, from movies. And it's very interesting, actually. There was a martial arts female actress when I was growing up called Cynthia Rothrock. Really strong female, learnt martial arts. She was fucking amazing. How did she become successful? Because she was good at her fucking job. She's more stronger in her roles that she used to do in the 80s than any of the females today. She's a better strong female lead than Millie Bobby Brown was, right? In her, in her latest Netflix We Hate Men, We Don't Need No Man movie. What was it called? I forgot. I've even forgotten. It's so mid. I've forgotten what it's called. Millie Bobby Brown isn't even a lead, right? She's an okay, solid actress, and they've tried to put her up there. Even Sydney Sweeney can't really lead a movie, and, I'm sorry, but let me be clear. A cleavage is just garnish. It's for you not to notice other things, in entertainment. It's so you, as a man, as a straight man, it's our biology to put our eyes where the cleavage is. So, not so attractive women show their cleavages so you don't look at their faces or anything else and realise that they're mid. Yeah, ugly 51-year-old geezer, I get it, talking about people's appearances. Don't care. So Sydney Sweeney's got her cleavage out because it distracts you from her being mid. Sydney Sweeney is a mid actress, and all of a sudden, they're saying, oh my God, Immaculate, one of the best horrors ever. No, it ain't. It's mid, and so is Sydney Sweeney. There is very, very few talented people. There are still good actors and actresses out there who want to make things with love. There are still good directors, writers, and producers out there that want to make things with love instead of hatred. They have taken a magical, wonderful industry, put it on the floor and stamped on it with their hatred. They have killed it. And once the cork is open, you can't put the cork in. You can't reimagine the fizz again. Once the cola is flat, it is flat. They have killed this industry via their political ideology. Every time they market something, they're telling people not to vote for Donald Trump. Now, if I was American, I wouldn't vote for Donald Trump, but nobody wants to hear about Donald Trump all the time. And the more you hate him, the more you drive people to vote for him. Because here's the thing, we don't like or trust New Hollywood. We don't like or trust most of the people in New Hollywood because they don't like us. And they make it very clear. Was it yesterday or the day before when people ask me all the time, if it was you, Mick, would James Gunn be writing and directing a Superman movie? Would he be the creative arm of DC Studios? Absolutely not. Bruce Timm would be. Absolutely. If Bruce wanted the job would have been Bruce's because he's proven the man's a fucking pioneer with DC. James Gunn is a capable writer-director, but he's never proven that he's liked. He's never spoken about liking Superman in the past. That's a facade. As I say, he may be able to give us a great Superman movie. He may be able to give us a great DC universe. I'm not Nostradamus. I don't know. But certainly, he wouldn't be my choice. But then, I wouldn't have brought Zack Snyder to make mainstream superhero movies either. And I love what he did with his Snyderverse in the DCEU. I love it, but I wouldn't have chose him. And I certainly wouldn't have chosen James Gunn either. We'll see how it all ends up. But this is a great example. rebooting Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, these companies are on the verge of fucking bankruptcy. They should be desperate. They should be begging Johnny Depp to come back. Now, when he was in that court case, he said he wouldn't come back no matter what they offered him. Maybe they've already offered him the opportunity and he told them to fuck off. Maybe they should be a bit more honest, because what they're doing here, and it's going to be very, the producer said, oh, there's a really good, exciting story. Nobody cares about a story for a new Pirates of the Caribbean movie, a rebooted franchise without Johnny Depp. We never cared about the story when Johnny Depp was in it. It just worked. There was banter. It was funny. It worked because, the chemistry between the actors was great, between Kira and Johnny and Orlando. It worked. It was magic. It was entertaining. Remember when entertainment used to be entertaining? Remember when we had an escape? They don't want to give us an escape. They want to get our heads and force us in reality 24/7 and say, well, we want to make grounded movies. Well, fuck your grounded, realistic movies. We want escapism. There should be realistic, grounded movies, but that shouldn't be the only thing we're seeing. It's such a depressing time to talk about and watch entertainment. As an entertainment pundit, for me, it's very, very depressing. It's not fun anymore. When I first started this channel in July of 2018, it was still fun. The marketing was fun. Now the marketing isn't fun anymore because you got Kirsten Dunst moaning that someone called her a girly girl on the set of those Spider-Man movies. I don't care. It's your fucking problem. Rebecca Ferguson, someone shouted at you on a set of a movie. It isn't my fucking problem. Stop being so fucking negative. We don't care. And even this Nickelodeon thing, go to the fucking police, right? If you were sexualized as a kid, now you've got nothing to fear, go to the police. Now you've made a documentary where you're getting paid, right? You're monetizing your abuse and you're not helping future victims. None of you are genuine people. We don't like you. We don't trust you because there's nothing to trust anymore. We know you. And it's very, 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 very sad. Very sad. And this situation shows you how depressing the situation is. As I say, they're on the verge of bankruptcy. Warner Brothers will probably merge and be sold in the next 18 months because they can't exist. They can't coexist as an independent company anymore. Even the merger with Discovery isn't enough. Oh, it's worked. Oh, it's worked, by the way. And, by the way, it's not all doom and gloom. Because, is it Timothée Chalamet? He's agreed a first look, actor, producer, first look deal for Warner Brothers Discovery. That's great. That was a foregone conclusion. It was always going to happen. All that really means is he gets a first look at all their shitty scripts. Then he tells them to fuck off because they're not good enough. That's how it works because there's not a lot of scripts. Let me explain to you how bad the situation is right now because people talk to me from within the industry all the time. There's very few new television shows being greenlit. There's very few new movies being greenlit and in production. It's a very, very bad situation. And they'll tell you it's because there's a backlog since COVID and last year's strikes. That's not true. The money isn't even there to make as many television shows, streaming shows, and movies as there used to be. The money's not there. The coffers have run dry because they've driven out the most important entity of their business, of any consumer-based business. The consumer, the fans, the viewers. You told us you hated us. You blamed us for your content failing, even though it was your own creative bankruptcy. It was driving out titans of industry, and that's why you failed. And decisions like this is, this is how dumb they are. And Jerry Bruckheimer, a guy that I know is a smart guy, who we know is a smart guy, making dumb decisions. Right, let me explain to you. I don't think this is his decision. right, alone. Disney have pretty much bamboozled him, given him a bunch of money, and he's just doing whatever they fucking say. It doesn't affect him, even as a producer, because he won't lose a great deal of money here. And that's the thing about it. But it is a dumb decision. It is a clown. It is a clown decision. There's no money in this. No one is going to watch a new franchise unless now, you know, if you did bring in an Austin Butler and a Timothy Chalamet, that would be cool. But it's unlikely those two guys who are predominantly Warner Brothers now will be involved with Disney. But maybe if you brought those guys in, there would be some interest. But they're not going to do that. We know exactly what they're going to do and who they're going to cast. Get ready. Maybe it won't be a total female cast, but they'll be ticking their usual boxes. They'll be making their poisonous, you know, commentary about men, about the patriarchy, right? Congratulations, Margot Robbie. You continue to smash the patriarchy, and young boys are asking themselves, why does Margot Robbie hate me? What have I done? Well, us adult men can explain to you lads what you've done wrong. Many, many years ago, there was these cavemen, and they used to bash their women over their head with clubs, and they're blaming you for what happened millions and thousands of years ago. Yes, even though you had nothing to do with it, even though you don't have those attitudes towards women, they're blaming you. This is how insane these fucking people are. This is how fucking insane they are in California and in LA, and this is how insane this industry has become. Not that they didn't always have these views, but they knew they couldn't be so loud about them. And now they are, and they have destroyed a beautiful Imagineering industry. They've killed it. It's dead. I don't know how you regain the public trust. I don't know, because when you're making decisions like this, then you know there's a problem. Because if you're just an ordinary fan like you and me, and you know this is a dumb decision, that barely anyone will go to cinemas, will watch Disney Plus to watch a Pirates of the Caribbean movie without Johnny Depp. When you think of Pirates of the Caribbean, you think of Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow. And that's basically, you may think of Keira Knightley, and you may think of Orlando Bloom and a few other actors, right? It was great, it worked, it was magical. Look, I'm not a big Pirates of the Caribbean man, I'm not gonna lie, but I enjoyed the movies. And I know that they cannot work without Johnny Depp. There is no point to these movies, but it's all about the theme parks, it's all about, but who's gonna go to the Pirates of the Caribbean thing? Which I don't even know if they still do, right? As some kind of theme park. Who's gonna go there? Who's interested in this? You know, and there's something else. Times move on. But they're not being creatively original. They're not creating new things. They're just reimagining what's been done better before. And they don't have the people within the industry to reimagine these iconic pre-existing properties in a better way, or even a half-decent way. They haven't. Just wait until that Crow reboot comes out. The trailer has already, you know, it looks shit. It's come out, it's shit. You ain't gonna beat what they did. You can't beat that first movie. It's emotional, it's outstanding, it's compelling, it works. Because there's no one in Hollywood today that can do anything better than the original Crow. There's no one in Hollywood today that can make awesome, epic Pirates of the Caribbean movies. They can give you great VFX. It can look good. It can be in IMAX. But none of that fucking matters if it's not entertaining. All the good people, most of the good people, have left entertainment. Even as a pundit, I'm not one of those pundits that watches all the new stuff and reviews it. You've noticed that. You know my platform. I mostly talk about DC and Doctor Who. But I don't watch every new thing. You know, you'll see lots of people on social media reviewing this, reviewing that. Hate watching this, hate watching that. My time is too precious to follow creative bankruptcy. I will talk about what I want to talk about. I'll love what I'll love. But at the end of the day, this dumb fucking decision shows you where we are today. Jerry Bruckheimer, one of the great titans of old Hollywood, standing there with a straight face and telling you and me the reason he's rebooting so he doesn't have to wait for Johnny Depp to be available. That must be the most ridiculous, dumbest piece of spin I have ever heard. And he thinks you're so stupid, you're going to swallow it.